Evening, Collective. Just trying to get over being sick. Working into some new ways to look at things. And being patient, taking our time. Because anything that's going to work out, it's going to work out. And the way it's going to work out, we never know, like how things lead together. Let's see what we got here. Looks like it's about time for somebody to step up to the plate in love. That they've been taking the easy way out for a long time, and holding on to the reins, making sure that only the ones that they want could approach, and that they always had all the keys on their key ring, and keeping the best ones at bay. But you know, the hesitancy has just been a lot of ego, and has actually led them away from love, and been trying to recycle the feeling of lust, of each day having smaller things fulfill it, and then the idea of their love paying the cost, but never having that love actually. So I'm seeing that as they're coming to terms with this, they have the sun in reverse is their placement right now, the one that's on your mind, or maybe it's you. As they get up the courage to make a move forward, and they're likely either to help with sleep because of anxiety, or other things. They might be intoxicating themselves a little bit, trying to get up the courage to come forward. But I don't think it'll take them very long. Once they really realize, well, you know, it's like one of those things, like if I have a map and it leads to the leprechaun with the gold, then I could just go around town and be like, yeah, guess what? I got the map, you know, or, and then sleep on it every night just knowing, oh, you know, my bills are all paid for, whatever. Or they could actually just go to the other end of the road and find out if it's even there, and break their own heart if they have to. But quit holding on to the fantasy, which leads to why they have there's this death card in reverse, is that they're hanging in the balance between thinking that they have love and having everything they need, and at the same time they're like still stuck in the cocoon, and they're afraid to break out. But they probably think that they're already the butterfly. But you know, if you're in the cocoon, you know, without that counterpart, there's no actual checks and balance system. And so anybody's ego can get way inflated, can keep everyone at bay, can make it seem like they have all these dates or whatever, or that they're happy being alone. But it comes down to, you know, until they have a partner there, there's really no proof of that. But I do see likelihood by the end of the month that there'll be some kind of communication with this Four of Wands here, whether that's you or from your person. And so that's a very positive thing to look forward to, even though we start with death in reverse, the Sun in reverse, we got the Four of Cups in reverse. But those are the things they're dealing with before they get up the balls to come forward. And once they give in, they have a lot of fears based upon how the routine's going to work, in the new relationship, whether they can, they're pretty sure that they can trust the person that they're dealing with, but they're afraid that they can't trust themselves and that they might cross the line. But I see here that the relationship automatically will balance and stagger itself, and as long as there's open communication. And so we got this Knight of Pentacles here, alluding to that there's going to be only prosperity if the communication goes through. What do we got here? Yeah, they're used to being very what's the way to put it? Very clever in their communications, and not used to being straightforward and just being like, it makes me jealous when you do this, or if you're going to hang out with those kind of people, then how can I feel secure that you're not cheating on me, kind of things. But then on their end, they deal with lots of different people in separate modes, and then the question is the same for the other party of how can I trust you going wherever you want to go, and you can do whatever you want to do. And so we're going to have to agree that all of our communications are straightforward regardless. So as soon as there's like some kind of fears or whatever, then we've progressed enough to come to this relationship. And so we might as well just be out with the fears and sit down each time, 5 minutes, write things down if we need to, or just look each other in the eyes and know, okay, so this is the agreement and it's not going to change unless we modify it later. And that's the thing about a relationship, that right, like for instance, like a marriage license, I always say that a marriage has to do with business. It has everything to do with finances and property and such, and it has nothing to do with love. But love in a relationship has to do with communication each day, and that's how the signature always stays on your hearts, and keeps the balance, rather than where a marriage is like, in a weird way, it's kind of like you're waiting for dinner and you're hungry, and then you're like, I don't want to wait, and so then you eat a whole pie, and that's like going to your wedding, and then afterwards you're like, oh good, oh you made my favorite dinner, oh man, I'm not so hungry now, can I save it for later, and that's the weird thing that happens. I think everyone can relate to that. Or the difference between buying it for yourself, or all of a sudden you get it as a gift, like, oh shit, I gotta save all that money, is a better way to see it. And that's what I think communication is really important in manifesting this relationship. And both people are really strong in their spiritual and magical abilities, that when they go into a room, everyone notices them. They don't take shit from anybody. And if they do, the spirit will take care of it later, kind of thing. Karma works its way out. And so the relationship, it looks like, is going to be based on nothing but a high sense of love and integrity. But right now, both parties are somewhat lying in this hanged man energy. But it's split between both parties. So neither party, it looks like, is just like locked away in their closet. Each is working from their own side, so it's not in the traditional sense of the Hanged Man, because their souls are already tied together, and from a distance, they're bearing the load as their spirits come together towards union. In the physical reality, they're like on a grid. You can see like, oh, here's my location on Google Maps and here's theirs. But in the spiritual dimensions, as two people's spirits start working towards each other, there's like this Doppler effect that happens on both ends, where each one is getting phases of the other and phases of themselves, like mirrors, in a splice, in order to have proper integration when you come together. Especially if you have a large soul, then you know, for instance, see each other everywhere anyway, before you ever knew each other. I want to get a couple extra cards here, since I'm already sitting here. Ooh. Yeah, here. Well, we got some pretty positive cards. First one that came out was Independence, but the irony is it's Independence in reverse. The couple are that they bring each other a new sense of independence by being together, but at the same time losing independence because you have to check in with each other. So yeah, in a union, you know, you have to be independent, otherwise the whole relationship suffers. But you can't just stand on your own 2 feet. You're already walking on their feet wherever they go at the same time. You know, you could be sitting indoors and all of a sudden you hear a car accident and you go outside and it's your spouse that got hit in the street, you know. And even though you're standing on your 2 feet, the whole relationship can be destroyed from a distance. And so that's why independence and dependence upon each other, but that dependence always being balanced and cut with communication, is extremely important for this union to come together positively. But it's freedom from the subserviency of others besides your partner, and that subservience is upon agreement, you know. Just because, oh, we're married, you know, it's like, well, I'm horny, I'm gonna pin you down and like take advantage of you like a dog. Like, you know, maybe that's a fantasy for some people sometimes, but you know, obviously we aren't each other's property, and so nobody can, even if regardless, nobody has the right to force themselves on another. That's a universal law. It's reminding both parties to prepare as much as they can, even though the weird thing about preparing for a union when neither party is like met up ahead of time, like say it's a merger, but for some reason, you know, maybe it's a tech firm and a marketing firm, and so for one, they're not meeting on the same. They're not talking about processors when they both make processors, and so they have two different businesses, and they just, like, the CEO sets up the meeting, but nobody really knows what's going on, you know. And so preparation is more of a state of mind, because when you walk in there, it doesn't matter what your game plan was and what your business is outside of there, what your status is. When you get in that boardroom, then it's going to be about whoever has the right things to say to make this shit come together. There's no higher, there is no lower. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Nobody's in charge. It's a brainstorming to find out, okay, well, how can our marketing firm support you guys, and how can your processors support our marketing firm, and what kind of, you know, kind of parentage can we claim or set into stone today where we can go forward in an exchange of money that will benefit us both. So yeah, discipline and management and affairs and allocation of attention and resources. That's under a Virgo. Luck when preparation meets opportunity. And resolve that when this union comes together, it's gonna be really important to stick through everything no matter what. I have a feeling it's a high-level union, and though each has a lot of experience with partners in business and in love previously, that it's not going to be like anything previously, and so there's nothing to compare it to. And so it's going to be both slightly frustrating, but it's going to be really exciting and new for both parties. So what else is there? Hope everyone's doing well. First thing that comes out. Let's take that one too. Right. Two cards came out in reverse, and they're even the same color, this rusty brown fire-ish color. And to remember that in union, yeah, there's desire, but you're not just like grabbing your cake and eating it all up and taking whatever you want whenever you want. And so then desire's in reverse, along with I am. It's just Aries, because there's this sacrifice to each other and balance that has to be maintained, especially in the beginning until everything's woven together and it's like a knitting machine. And so I am kind of goes out the door, like, so what? You know, as you're George Washington and I'm Eva Braun, or, you know, I don't know, Halle Berry and George Washington. Well, that's nice. But, you know, the people you hang with and what you're about is different than the people I hang out about and I'm with. And yeah, you're so important and I'm so important. But when it comes down to it, we're back at the Garden of Eden and we're just two babies. And we have to work together. And everyone's counting on us. All the people that know us are counting on us. If nothing else, just to see a 6X story. And so it's backed up by Leo. I will. Let me pull one card from this karma deck. I feel like, unless I have a specific topic and I just start running off of the mouth, the 20 minutes is a good length for a video. It's hard to sit with somebody, I find, if it's like an hour or more. Especially, well, since I like to get to know a lot of different people. Every video I listen to, usually I listen at a minimum of 3 to 5 minutes. Certain people, 10 minutes. Sometimes I just pop in the very middle. Just like, well, let's see what they have to say here. And if that relates. And so it's difficult not being an AI computer and kind of monitoring everyone. Not like a cop or anything, but like just, I don't know. I just scan with my spiritual eye the bandwidths and see who's got messages for me and who has things to teach me, or, you know, it's good to have a full circle. Like, for instance, if you're in the middle of, say, a zodiacal circle, then even if it rotates so that Leo is in front of you some of the times, but sometimes it's behind you, then each sign gets to attack you from the back, you know what I'm saying? And so then it's important to learn that skill of being on your toes and dealing with a lot of different kinds of energies if one is to be successful at balancing energy channeling. We'll do it this way. House, planet, sign. the suggestion here for the parties together, it says it's Mars in the 6th house in Pisces. Oh, maybe I have these out of order. Maybe the house was last. The drive for spirituality to the ultimate experience as a full-time job. Well, I don't know what a full-time job of spirituality is. It's, for me, it's every minute of every day of my entire life. And that's, I don't know, it's just how it is for me. Whether I just look at a newspaper and whatever's on the cover, or I just walk outside and a bird lands on the fence, just every last thing. Spirituality has been a driving force in my life, even though I'm not a part of any movement or any church or any of that. But I guess that makes sense, because that which one is, you don't really have to, you automatically don't feel the need to prove it. And so I guess that's why it's maybe taken me so long to share myself in this way, because people either decide that they want to do it or they don't want to do it, and for some people that's all they do, but it's all broken up, it's not really made for TV to process. And it says here, as the advice to end this reading, sorry, my nose is stuffy here, the confronting of trusting your psychic knowledge of serving. I think that's important for all of us, that, especially when it comes to spiritual things, that we do serve. But the weird thing about serving is, serving, it can't just be giving in, because you have to balance against yourself and against others to truly serve. Like, for instance, if you let your kids run all over you, you're not serving them. If you run around or when you scold them every single time you possibly can, then that's not serving them either. And so that balance is really important. And here it suggests that whatever in this union maybe that's coming up, that actions can be made resulting from the indecision, or it's going to be done a little bit at a time. But it seemed to reveal to us previously that no matter how much either party could prepare or be perfectly ready, it'll be wrong. The more perfect it's created to be prepared for union, the more likely everything's going to have to be untangled. Like, if each one's a yarn ball, then they're going to realize, oh shit, I got to take the whole thing apart anyway because I put the colors in the wrong order to match with your yarn ball. And so in some ways, the sooner is better, so that both sides can integrate more fully from the beginning without having to tear everything down first. But every day is a journey towards improving something a little bit better and moving towards a greater union, both with ourselves, with the community, with our partner or partners, if we're in business and have friends within the same community. But ultimately, it always comes back down to our own self and making the best use of it for each other. So here's my reading for this evening. Have a good night.